Today I'm going to tell you about one of my favorite lenses, and that is the Sigma 70-200 f2.8. Let me grab it real fast. Now, I've had this lens for maybe about a year and a half, and I've used it in a ton of different scenarios. Now, I've used it with these Canon cameras as well as Blackmagic cameras, and I've had no issues with it as far as compatibility goes. Now, it is a weather-sealed lens, so it doesn't have an external zoom mechanism, so we can just zoom it like this and it stays all connected inside of itself. Now, as far as the zoom and focus controls go, like actually using it and zooming it, it's very smooth and I haven't had a single issue, and there's no sand or anything like that inside of it, even though I've been to some sandy and dusty places. Same with focus. Now, autofocus is really good, and image stabilization is phenomenal as well. Now, there's a bunch of different dials on the side of the lens that you can control. So as far as focus goes, there's autofocus, manual override, which basically allows you to have autofocus, but when you want to, just grab it and move it around and it changes. It doesn't change super reliably. Sometimes autofocus likes to grab it and take control again, so I just normally don't use that setting. And then there's manual focus. Now, if you have a camera that doesn't have autofocus at all, like a Blackmagic camera, you can use the autofocus setting and not even worry about it. But if you want to do manual focus with a camera that has autofocus, you can just switch that right there. It's pretty neat. Next, we have our focus modes, so full and 3 meters to infinity. You can switch this to 3 meters to infinity for a little bit faster, but I found with this lens that it hasn't really been an issue, and just stick with full most of the time. On other lenses, like my Sigma 150mm to 600mm lens, I definitely need to switch those focus modes because there's such a vast amount of space for it to focus to. But with this one, it isn't an issue. Now, as far as stabilization modes, there's off 1 and 2. Off is just no stabilization. 1 is all directions, and I believe 2 is just up and down. Now, there's also a 4th option on the bottom for custom modes, and you can assign custom settings for this lens. So focus, stabilization, and all that cool stuff, basically profiles. Now, you can only do that if you have the USB docking station, which I don't have. I should probably get. If you have a bunch of different Sigma lenses like I do, it's compatible with all of those lenses, so if you have more than just one, maybe pick up that little docking bay. I'll put a link in the description below. Now, this is an EF lens mount. They also make other versions, and then there's a newer one for the Sony mount. Now, this is the older EF mount, so I have to get an EF to RF adapter to use it with my Canon cameras, which is fine, and I haven't had any issues with this adapter, so full control over the lens and not a single problem there. Now, on the bottom, there's a rotating collar, and there is an Arca Swiss plate, but it isn't compatible on every Arca Swiss mount. For example, the Peak Design travel tripod, it's just a little bit too big. So you can still mount actual plates on the bottom of that. Now, this tripod collar is not removable, so you just have to twist it and spin it around like that. And you can remove the foot itself, but it's kind of a hassle, so I don't usually do that. And we can just lock it down with this dial right here. Now, on the front, it has an 82mm filter thread, and you can get NDs or polarizers for it. I have not done that yet. I probably should get some NDs, considering how much I use this lens. It does have an included lens hood and carrying case, so that's awesome. I normally use the lens hood when I'm outdoors, and the reason you'd want to use that is to get rid of any reflections and basically lowering the contrast in the lens from the sun, which is why you use a lens hood or a flag or something like that, like I am right now. For this top light. The carrying case is also pretty nice. It's the same one that comes with all the Sigma lenses. So if you have a bunch of Sigma lenses like I do, they all match and they all look great. As far as build quality goes, it's all metal, and I haven't had a single issue. As I said earlier, it is weather sealed, and that's awesome as well. And yeah, there's basically 0 scratches. And the one thing that I forgot to mention earlier there are little buttons here that you can customize for your camera. Certain cameras allow this, so maybe your Canon camera or Sony camera. Some cameras do not, like the Blackmagic Cinema cameras, but basically you can assign these buttons to do anything. There are 3 of them, but they all do the same function, so you can't independently assign them. For my case scenario, I have them on silent shutter, so I can just press the button when I need to, and it goes silent. This is great if you're doing a lot of events, so maybe like a wedding or something, and you just need it in that moment to be very silent. So you can just press that right there. You can also assign it to do video, or basically any other setting inside the camera in the menu. Yeah, that's pretty much my experience with this lens. I've used it a ton for photos and video. The autofocus is super fast, stabilization is great, customization is awesome, and it's built super well. Now, as far as price goes, it's pretty cheap compared to the competition. It's around $1,500 US, which is about half the price of the Canon version, and it has the same specs and it looks very similar. So for the price, there's not much better you can get. Now, if you want to pick up one for yourself, check out the Amazon affiliate link in the description below. It helps you make sure to get the right lens and supports the channel at the same time. That's going to be about it for today's video, but before we go, I want to tell you about our sponsor, Artlist. If you're a content creator like myself on YouTube, or even have a large production company, you're going to need stock assets like music, sound effects, and footage, and Artlist is the best place to get that. With different plans starting with music and sound effects to Artlist Max with everything you need, Artlist is the place to go. If you want to get 2 months for free on your annual subscription, check out the link below. Thank you to Artlist for supporting the channel, and back to the video. Congratulations, you made it to the end of the video. If you want to watch another video, there's one right over there, and 2 below me. And let us know in the comment sections down below what videos we should make.